Watcher, Martyn from Lux Resin here. We've now reached episode 12 of Let's Make a Resin Guitar, and it's going quite well now. We now seem to have a smoothed and sanded body with the resin inserts in it, and we've got the right cuts in the right places here as well, and it's feeling like a good solid piece. So in today's episode, I'm going to be sanding down the resin down to a 10,000 grit so that I can then polish it up and get a hyper gloss finish on it once we put the final coats of finish on the piece. And also I need to do some staining because what was green has gone back to the very pale basswood, so we need to restore that back to a vivid colour. So let's go. Today, rather than use the electric sander, because the areas I'm going to be sanding are fairly small and discreet, there's only one way to do it, and that's to sand by hand through all the grits. So starting with some 400, we need to slowly sand these resin areas. And already that resin has changed colour, and it appears to it's gone a kind of grey colour, but that's only because there's dust on it. If I was to wipe the dust off, it'd go back to black. Right, we've reached 2,000 grit, and as a result of that, we now need to start doing wet and dry sanding. So let's apply some soapy water. Let's sand away. And at last, down to 10,000 grit. Lovely. Beautiful. Phew, finished. That's the end of the sanding. Okay, let's get this bad boy back to green, shall we? So once again, using the same acetone-based spirit stain, we're going to take this basswood back to its original green. This time, because I know what I'm dealing with, I'm not going to be diluting the stain. In fact, I'm going to be applying straight from the bottle, straight onto the wood. This time, I'm using, rather than a sponge, I'm using a blue cloth, simply because I get more control of where the stain goes over using something like a sponge. So I can be a lot more careful when it comes to the borders of the resin. Make sure that we don't overstain, because the last thing we want to do is get stain onto our resin. So we're going to take our time. Applying it evenly, carefully. We do have some over spill. With a hand to mop that up. There. Okay. a lot more control than using a sponge. And to be fair, a nice even application for the first coat as well. I'm quite happy with the way that this is looking at the moment. So I've decided for completeness, just to make sure that we don't get completely patchy coverage, that we're going to do one final coat. And that's it before we go for the clear coat finish. So let's start as usual with the headstock. Making sure that we get that colour in and on and around the edges there. Sure that we don't put on too much, the coverage is even. As you can see, that looks to be quite even. Yeah, it's coming along. Back of the headstock now. Lovely. The maple this time. This stain is reacting very differently to the previous stain, in that the maple seems to be soaking it up a bit more. Now I know I have sanded the neck since it was stained last time, but you can see that the colour is a lot more saturated than our previous staining, so that's leading to the results that you can see that I'm enjoying at the moment. Messy there. Body, look at the neck. I'm very happy with that. It's come out a very nice colour. It's lovely and saturated, and that's really going to shine when we spray the final coat on. Okay, onto the body, and let's start with the top as usual. So clean away the excess. Excess stain. Oh, nearly knocked it over. That's fine.
And I think we've got now a pretty even coat on here, so just wipe away any excess that's sitting on the surface so we can get a good view. And I think that is a pretty even coat, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Right, well, we'll let this cure now for 24 hours, let it dry out totally, and once that stain is set, then the next episode we're going to move on to putting the final coat of finish on the neck and the body, and that's an important step forward because that completes all of the stain and finishing process and takes us towards the final fit of electronics and tuners and other parts, and putting the two pieces together and turning some bits of stained wood into an instrument. So good progress so far. I'm really happy with that. Until the next episode, see ya.